and we're live. Good morning, South Florida, and hello, world. I am Robert Henderson Jr., President, Founder, CEO of the Henderson Financial Group, located here in Miami Lakes, Florida. We're a full service financial planning firm located actually doing business all over the world, actually, not just in the States, but out of the States also. And joining me here is my brother from another mother, the one and only, the fabulous, the world famous
All right,
James
Rob,
T.
Rob,
Thomas. How you
Rob.
doing, my brother? I was
Hey,
just up there with you, man.
man,
Enjoyed it.
man, I have survived these last 72 hours or whatever, 80
Work to do,
hours
work.
back. Oh, man. Hey, Rob, when we say 24/7, it's 24/7.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. Hey, but you got to put the work in order to get the product out. Yeah, so we're all good. We're all good. And we're gonna leave it right there, Rob. We're gonna leave it right there.
I got
Okay.
you. I got you. I got you.
It's a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day, beautiful time. Great seeing you, man. That you and the
Yes,
fam. And of course, Rob, I gotta share this. This morning in my study, because I'm gonna still wake up all the same time. But there was something so profound that speaks to quote unquote where we are. And when I say where we are, I mean not just me and you, but where we all are. And I was doing the continued study with Miles Monroe, and he asked the gentleman in the audience, he said, "Can you step up and help me, please?" And he stepped up on stage and he said, "Stand right here." And then he said, "Face me." And Miles began to walk back, right? He said, "Do you know what God did?" He said, "Before he began, he finished." He said, "Now you're there, but before you ever got there, he had finished your being there and he began back here." And Rob, I think in every person's life, no matter where we are, and we're going to have a special guest on this morning, there's no way that we could have seen even where we are today. And where we are today is not the finish.
isn't that something?
Isn't
Let
that
the church
something, Rob?
let the church say amen to that.
Wherever, no matter where we are, what we've achieved, what we've dreamed, no matter where we are in this right now moment, we're not at the finish. And we can see all that we did to get to where we are.
Hey,
So,
but
oh man, what an amazing father we have. What an
yeah, I
amazing.
mean, they say the greatest invention hadn't been invented yet. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
isn't that something?
The greatest movie, the greatest song hasn't been sung yet, hasn't
Oh,
been
come
written
on,
yet. You know,
Rob.
I mean, really, I mean, nothing is infinite. I mean, so when people give up and say, "Hey, I'm gonna quit because, hey, somebody done that," no, no, no.
Come
I
on.
mean, they could have did that, in 1800s or 1700s, 1600s.
But
They
they
thought that
didn't.
was it. No,
And hey, Rob, they thought it was cool. Hey, wow, we got a light. We turned the light
yeah,
on.
a telephone.
Mr. Barnes and Mr. Edison, hey, boom, oh wow. And Mr. Ford, he said, "Oh man, look at him driving that wagon. Get y'all move that mule and that horse off the road because here comes a Ford."
Yes, on airplane, right? An
and then,
airplane. Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, here comes it. Come on, hey. So with that excitement, I'm really thinking that hopefully it will incite others to say, "Wait a minute, you mean to tell me
It's not over.
there's there's more that I could do?" Hey, then Robert, rather than retire,
Yeah.
why
Yeah,
don't
it's not
why don't I refire?
right, right. It's not over. I let you know that, world is continuous, the world is continuing to evolve, I was reading how for the first time in history, mankind, the United States of America is in $40 trillion in debt with a T. It's the first time in the world
Mm,
that America, 200-year-old country is in $40 trillion of debt. Now, to put that in perspective, James, if somebody told you, "Hey, Mr. Thomas, you just won $1 trillion," But in order to get it, in order to take it home, you have to first count it. And once you count it, then you can take it home and spend it how you want to. As a matter of fact, Mr. Thomas, if you count it, matter of fact, we're going to award everybody on the planet $1 trillion. Not just Mr. Musk, but everybody going to be trillionaires. But everybody has on one condition. Before you can take it home and spend it how you want to,
you got to count it.
You have to count it. And the question becomes,
how long will it take?
How long will it take?
Come on.
Well, the answer is, it'll take you 31,700 days, 700 years.
Yes.
31,700 years to count it. That puts things in perspective, you know? So you ask $1 trillion, man, that's $1 trillion. You figure that's $1 trillion.
40.
America is in debt for $40 trillion today and counting with interest. With interest compounding, and they have to raise interest rates on that because of inflation.
Rob, I'm gonna tell you, like the grown people used to say back in the day, "Oh, bless your heart, oh, bless your heart, baby, bless your heart," because whoever got to deal with that one, Rob, hey,
Yeah.
they God is not you and I. That's $40 trillion in debt.
Yeah. It's the second largest debt that the U.S. responsibility that the U.S. has. Is paying its bills. America borrows when they sell bonds, U.S. Treasury bonds to finance the war. The war has really cost a lot, and unnecessary war. That a lot of that money is being spent in America. Is spending it for other countries, and they say to stop the Iranians, but really, man, people here in America is just catching it, So we have to put things in perspective, I when I look at that, I don't worry about that because I'm a type of person I believe everything is in divine order, and you ask for what you get. You got to be careful for what you ask for. And as a nation, we're in this position because people asked for this. They wanted this, just like they wanted Barabbas when Pontius Pilate said, "Who do you want, Jesus or Barabbas?" And they picked Barabbas, and they crucified Jesus. And then later on, 2,000 years, and now everybody, I want to be like Jesus, and we so sorry, Jesus. What is the same thing happening? Because history does repeat itself, and it's happening again. And I guess it's a cleansing, and now it's not going to get better until we squeeze. Hopefully, God, you survive this, but it's going to get. It's got to get worse before it get better because the people asked for it. As a matter of fact, some people are still cheering on this mess, and it will continue until the cleansing take place. But I tell you one thing: if you are in right mind, you have good heart, you with the Father. You are with the Father. You are chosen. You shall survive. So I'm pretty good. We're all good, James. We're good. We have a lot of love.
I have a friend of mine, Mr. Henderson. His name is Robert, and I have a lot of other friends that quotes my friend Robert that says, "There's always going to be a correction."
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's natural, human nature. Always a correction. You know what I mean? Always.
There's gonna be a correction, Rob.
Yes. Last week I talked about and introduced. I said there's an insurance company that said it's gonna give you 35% on your money as a bonus. And I got another call. They said, Robert, short term, because a lot of people, don't know where to go. They don't know who to trust. And they put money in the banks and they buy these CDs that's taxable. Well, I like insurance companies because I always tell y'all, and I got to know this. Next to God, God has it all. But next to God, after God, God controls and has everything, the source of everything. But next to God, under God, beneath God, it's the insurance companies. Not the banks. No, not the oil companies. Oh, banks are not. See, people put money in banks. Banks are just conduits. Banks take your money because you feel that they give you this sense of safety, and they use your money to make money. That's why the buildings are beautiful. That's why they have a lot of money, because they just use your money, because you don't have trust, or you don't know anyone, or you don't have access. So you say that they've trained us since we were kids, since we was born. I mean, you go to grade school. What is a bank? And they somehow Jedi mind us through education, so-called education, miseducation, that banks is for saving money. No, when you deposit money in banks, it's really you lending money to banks, because we all that put money in the banks, we give banks economic power, because the government that we live in says that when you deposit money into a bank, you're lending money to a bank. That's why they call it interest. So they pay you interest, little or nothing. The banks take that money and they invest it into the open market, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's commodities, and that's how they make money. It's called arbitrage. And you feel it's safe because they have conditioned us to say that it's safe. And they say it's safe to $250,000. Many people got $1 million in the bank, which is not safe, but they look past that and it's not really safe. Insurance companies, and most of the time, I would say 95% of the time, when banks get ready to make loans, they really, really have to adhere to insurance laws, because a lot of times they borrow money from insurance companies. Like a lot of these real estate developments, a lot of these stadiums, they are financed through banks. Financed through insurance companies. But the banks do the vetting. You have to bring your financial statements, look at your credit and all that. Insurance companies not doing all that. They sell those packages to an insurance company, and the insurance company say, okay, we'll give you the money, and everybody makes a piece. I mean, while you're making less than 1%, they're making 3%, or they're making, especially on credit cards, my God, they're making 29%, 18%. And there's no rules, no law, there's no government that will say, you cannot charge American people 29%, to borrow money. No, nobody's saying that. You're on your own, baby. Nobody's coming to help you and say, help me, they're charging me too much interest. No. They call this the free market. They're not going to police that. They'll police minimum wage. And if you think about this, the federal minimum wage that around the country is $7, I think $7.80 or something. I mean, who can live off $7 an hour? $7.80 an hour. You know what I mean? When you go to Burger King or any of these McDonald's and you get a meal, it's that, even though they're running a special right now, $5, but I don't eat that stuff because I know it's killing you. But if you want to eat healthy, it costs even more. Water costs more than a soda nowadays. Isn't that something? Well, let me digress. Anyway, matter of fact, I'm easing into our guest who we're going to have, Dr. Malone. And he's going to talk about the business of medicine. Isn't that something?
Goodness.
The business of medicine.
We're going to record this. Play this back. Hey, make sure you call your family, call your friends. But go ahead, Rob.
Yes, because, medicine, man, you're talking about business. Oh, most of us just want to be healed, or, just tell us what to do so we can feel better. But that costs. I mean, do you want the real stuff? Do you want to get the real deal, or you want to get the generic deal? I mean, you know what I mean? So we're going to talk to Dr. Scott Malone so he can tell us about the business of medicine. But also, before I go into that, if you want to have short-term principal protected and get interest and not be taxed on it, then there's something called MIGAs, and those are multi-year annuities, where you can get them for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years. Your principal is protected, but they're paying 5% now. One called me and said, hey, if you put your money in for 6 years, we'll give you 6.8%. And you don't pay any interest. You don't pay any taxes each year until you take the money out and go shopping or whatever you're going to do. But that's some good stuff. And that is backed by an insurance company. Like I said, not a bank. Better than $250,000. That's backed in an insurance company. Next to God, they have the most money. I want y'all to remember that. All right.
Maybe,
How you
maybe the
doing, Miss Ray?
government needs to, hey, call the Henderson Financial Group and say, help us to get rid of this $40 trillion occurring
$40
debt.
trillion debt. Wow.
Wow,
40
wow.
trillion now.
You'd have to put together a session. Go as we get ready for the medical attention with Dr. Malone. There was a session that was set up in Congress, and they had all these people, I guess, dealing with pharmaceuticals, medicine, and everything, and they began to question them, Rob, of their investments, and everybody from the medical industry, the pharmaceutical, the quote unquote the pharmacies. I mean, everybody is connected here, and they determine, you know, the rates on everything. How much the doctors can charge, hey, how much the medicine is going to cost when you go to the pharmacy. Uh, it, oh man, it's almost like, okay, we're going to set up this industry here. And as we feel the need that we want to increase the rates, we're going to increase the rates everywhere and on everybody.
Yeah. Ain't that something? That's the business. You know, Doctor Malone knows a lot. He's like us. You know, he belongs to the Father, man. That's what I like about him. And this guy is he's attached to the vine like we are. You know, and he'll tell you the truth. We got to give him a show, man, so he could be telling people exactly.
See that? Yeah.
He got to have his own show, man. We come on, we got to pick a day or whatever. He have his own show, and he gives us the inside scoop. Matter of fact, you want to bring him on now? He's ready.
Let's bring him on. Let's
Let's
bring
bring
him
him
in.
on. All right, let's bring him on. Dr. Malone.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing fine down here in Perry, Georgia.
Perry,
Oh,
Georgia.
Perry,
Boy, what a
Georgia.
beautiful place, man. I tell you, when insurance don't cost that much as much, and the property tax is not as high as down here in South Florida, huh?
Yeah, and I'm out here in the country with the cows, the goats, the donkeys. And like I say, when I get frustrated, I go out in the field and they don't talk back.
Oh, dog. And you got a beautiful spread there, boy. You got some acres. It's pretty, man. You can just smell the grass and you see the cows and you know the horses. I mean, you got everything there, man. I've been there. It's beautiful, 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 boy. I tell you.
And thank you.
How you doing?
Pretty good this morning. Listening to you and Jimmy, and I appreciate the introduction. And this is one of my favorite subjects in soapbox. I give you guys quick backdrop. Y'all know me. I grew up in East Tennessee in the hills, place that was only 1% minority, and I always wanted to be a doctor. But um, my mother, I had an old school mother, and I got an engineering scholarship. My mother said, "You're gonna go to University of Tennessee. You're gonna major in engineering," and I said, "I don't want to. I want to go to a small school, liberal arts, and be a doctor." And she said, in the way our mothers would say back in the old days, you're going to take your, you know what, Tennessee, you're going to major in engineering. And that's what I did. But, I used to think that that was, I was frustrated with it because I had to find a way to get from engineering into medicine. And I ultimately was able to do it with a lot of prayer, faith, perseverance. And I was fortunate enough to be able to work for, back in the days as a co-op student, they call it internships now, but IBM down in Boca. And I was working for IBM, and it was very regimented. And then one of the things that helped propel me towards medicine, I knew I had to finish engineering, was I said, I don't want to be controlled. I want to go into a business where I can control my own destiny. Well, you get a culture shock. I fortunately got into medical school, and you go to medical school and you well, first of all, I finished engineering. I had to take pre-med classes, and then you get into medical school and you do what's called a residency. Medical school is like 3 to 4 years, and then the residency, depending on what you do, can be 4 to 7 years. Then after that, if you do a fellowship, can be another 2 years. Well, I thought because of my exposure with IBM, I understood business. It doesn't work that way. You finally get trained and you come out and you either want to take care of illness or injury, and you focusing on that because your first year, you probably learn the most when you're really out there by yourself. And I describe it like you got an insurance company on one shoulder and lawyers on the other shoulder. You're afraid to make a mistake. Then insurance companies are regulating. And all of a sudden you hit this new world and then you're seeing patients and of course, you're charging for your services and you don't realize that what you bill is not what you're going to collect. That's the first thing that hits you. And then you start getting hit with all these other expenses, staff, 18% of your, depending on, back in the day when it was mom and pop shop, 18% of your overall expenses is going to be your staff, right? Then you got to
Right.
pay yourself, but you got to pay your bills.
Right.
And so all these things come about. And the thing that is missing is nobody taught you in pre-med, nobody taught you in medical school, nobody taught you in residency, and nobody taught you in your fellowship about the business side
Business side of medicine.
of it. And so, I started learning and I really thought, well, I got a decent grasp, but it's just so much stuff. And, Robert, thanks to your help and Jimmy, with even now, I've been in medicine close to 30 years now, it's still a lot that I wish I'd have known 20, 30 years ago, but nobody teaches you. You just trust what a tax preparer says, and then you pay it and you move forward. But I even have gone as far as going back to my medical school and setting up a foundation for the business of medicine to try to teach medical students and residents about the business side. The dean of my medical school is my classmate. And I told him, I said, these doctors aren't prepared for what's going to happen to them.
Mm.
And he said, well, we got a couple that got MBAs. And I'm like, you need to build a curriculum. They're still ignorant to it. They don't want to do it. And it amazes me that they don't. So what has happened, fast forward 2026, and what's happened in the medical world now, and it's important for patients to understand it because I think they just assume your doctor understands the business side. And I'm telling you, just like tax planning, tax preparing, 95% of them don't.
No, they
And
don't.
so, you get there and then you blinded by it, you have no concept of, but you're liable for it. You're liable for your business. So what has happened is, as y'all were talking earlier, what has happened is the insurance industry is actually taking over medicine. And what I mean by that is that the first thing I have to do when I see a patient is see what your insurance plan is. It tells me
Mm.
what medicines I can write. It tells me what diagnostics you're allowed to get. And then ultimately, it's going to tell me what I can be paid or not paid. And it's so
Oh,
frustrating. I tell my patients now that the insurance company is your doctor. And then on top of that, I have to worry about if I make a mistake in being sued. So that's the
so
setup for what we're
so doc,
dealing
so
with
that
the business
so
of
doc,
medicine.
that's why if you sick and you go to the hospital, first thing they ask for, do
Do you
you
have
have
insurance?
insurance? And they want your insurance card because that insurance lets them know how they're gonna get paid and how they can treat you. They don't even care about. I mean, if you got a gunshot wound or whatever, I got to look at insurance card, I guess, and see do they cover gunshot wounds. I don't know, So that's why that's so important. If you don't have insurance, then what happens?
Well, you're right. And people used to get insulted. I mean, I saw this coming 20 years ago, and I used to ask people, first thing I asked them when walking rooms, what's your insurance plan? Well, I got insurance. I wasn't asking because making sure you get paid. I had to know what I could do for you. If you don't have insurance, and I will say this, I'm a proponent of universal healthcare. If we can fight these foreign wars and spend billions of dollars and waste taxpayers' money, every American should have access to healthcare, in my opinion. But if you got self-insurance or you're self-paid, then it's going to be difficult for you. Now, there are what they call non-for-profit hospitals that get governmental funding down. They can't turn you away, but they only have to give you minimal services as well.
Mm.
And so that's tough too. And then there's these exchange plans, which they call Obamacare. And you get some people have politicized that because there's some doctors that won't take Obamacare. There's some doctors won't take Medicaid. There's some doctors won't even take Medicare.
Is that
And
because of the
it's
money side? They won't take
yes.
it because of the business side. They won't get paid or something.
Well, you can look at it like this. Roughly from Medicaid, catered to the state, and they say it does get some federal funding. You get 20 cents on a dollar. Medicare 35% on the dollar. If it's a commercial plan like a Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, you negotiate the rate, and you may get 50 cents on a dollar, but that's after the patient has paid their copay and the deductible. And then the patient, and this is what a lot of people don't even know, even with your own insurance, and even me as a doctor, it changes from year to year. You know, once you meet your deductible, then the insurance company's still not going to pay 100%. It's usually an 80-20 plan or 70-30 plan, which means they're going to pay 70% of it, and you still got to pay 30% out of pocket. You've already paid your deductible. Problem with a lot of these exchange plans is that the deductible is so high, and this is what's going on with you here with healthcare right now. One big one, Ambetter, a lot of places, the deductible is like $5,000. What that means is you have to come out of pocket $5,000 before it kicks in some of these plans. Some of the commercial plans, same thing. Most patients don't know that, but it limits the provider's ability to treat. Now, in my space, orthopedic, we see a lot of trauma. If you got a plan, it's hard for me to turn you away, and I try not to. But that means if you haven't met your deductible, it's going to go to what they call patient responsibility. And after 120 days, it's like a 10 to 15% chance you're going to collect that money.
So, Doc, let me ask you a question, because I know a lot of people want to know this. And give it to us, and I guess in layman's term, Obamacare, the affordable health care. Why are people dropping it? And I know that the Trump administration never liked it, but now it's like a catch-22. Why is it being dropped? Why are carriers getting out of it? Well, tell me the business side of that.
Well, it's like anything else, Robert. They got profit margins they're looking to make. In actuality, across the board, the insurance companies have some of the highest profit margins, but they got a magical number set in their mind that they need to make. The other problem is when the government quit funding or giving tax incentives for these exchange plans, in order for them, the insurance companies to meet their profit margins, they raise the deductibles, they raise the premiums. Just like you talk about insurance in general, that's what they did. And a lot of people that had a Obamacare plan, let's say Ambetter, for example, you may pay $800 to $1,000 a month for a family, and now that they quit funding it, the federal government has that. Basically, you're paying the same amount you pay if you had a Blue Cross Blue Shield or an Aetna plan. You're paying now that number that was 800 is now 1,600, 2,000, and people can't afford it, so they're going without insurance. But here's the big problem with that: if you get an emergency, you go to the hospital. If it's not for profit, they got to treat you anyway, and the taxpayer's going to pay for it anyway.
I see.
And that adds to that $40 trillion, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
$40 trillion debt.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. It does.
So my question would be, educate me and all of the others out there that are saying, how should we cover ourselves and our family? And I got to say right off the top, to expose the fact, I'm a veteran, and veterans benefits has been great, but not everybody has a veteran in the family or is a vet. So for the average person out there, how would you advise them, Doc? What should they be looking for as they try to determine what's best for their family? What are some of the keys?
And where do you see this going? I mean, since you have insight, I mean, you a lot of this stuff you see it coming. Where do you see? Well, where are we going with this whole health thing?
You know, those are be honest with you, you're gonna be surprised at my answer. Those are really difficult questions. I tell you why, because insurance companies change the rules literally every month. And I really don't even know. I mean, even as a provider, I don't know. It's frustrating because you don't know. I mean, they have rules that they use to determine how they pay you based on how charges are submitted, and they change the rules. And it's so crazy that we have, like, I give you an example. We have one payer, for instance, that we do an injection, and they approve it. You got to get their approval for an injection. It's injecting kind of like you probably heard of rooster cone injection for people with osteoarthritis. And they'll hire a third-party vendor after they approved it. Went back 3 years, came back, said we approved this, but now we feel like he was overpaid. The third party gets a cut, and they say now you owe us for $50,000 for what you've already approved, and you've already provided the service to the patient, and there's no way for us on our end to recoup the money if they take it from us. So what they do, then your next draw for legitimate claims, they'll just take it out of your draw. Now, to answer Jimmy's question, um, of course I call him Jimmy because of my brother-in-law, James T. But what I advise people to do, if you're a veteran, and I'm a veteran too, I was captain in the Army, I say get whatever you can get because you serve time and you deserve it. And so there is a program called Care in the Community where you can be treated through the VA, and you can see we're the largest provider of care in the community for orthopedics in Middle Georgia. So I say go through that. The advantage of that is there is no copays, there is no deductibles, so you don't have to worry about that part. The only problem is just getting approved for that. But unfortunately, there's rumblings in Congress to cut benefits for that, which I think is very, very disappointing. Now, I really don't know. I mean, luckily, I'm very fortunate and blessed to be in a group that we have what we call commercial policies to cover us as a group. But when you don't, in like these small employers that have 3 to 5 employees, they can't afford
But
to
and
to
that's my
provide
point.
insurance.
uh, Dr. Malone, that's my point. My point is a person like myself and yourself, we may have VA coverage and well deserved, believe me, for all the lives that were lost and all the injuries that we had to even fight to get, being in special combat areas. Like I was up by the demilitarized zone, and it took us years when they knew they were doing the pit burns and all the other things to get approval. And you wonder, well, wait, why is this? Why is that? But I'm speaking of that average person out there that then may you have a vet in the family. You may have a vet in the family, but what about the other family members? How are they going to navigate well, the now, because as you said, we don't know what the future is going to bring. But as now, what should be some of the concerns and what are some of the questions that should be asked by the average citizen as to what they decide that they're going to get to provide care for themselves and their family?
Well, part of that depends on, well, not part, the biggest part depends on your income. Second would be your age, because once you're 65 or older, you're eligible for Medicare. When you're younger, especially kids, most states have some form of Medicaid, which is state funded, but it's eligibility criteria, and it's not just straight Medicaid, it's different carriers that provide that. I mean, it's really like a maze. And what I would say, because y'all know I'm big on technology, what I advise people to do, the ones that can, because everybody's not, is that I would just ask a chat GPT or a perplexity or somebody like that, because it's gotten to the point where it's so complicated. There's a whole cottage industry now of people that all they do is help you find the right plans for you. And it depends on age, income, a lot of things. Are you disabled? Not just, do you have potential disabilities? Are you a veteran? It goes on and on and on. And to answer Robert's question, where I see it going, I think what you're going to end up with is a two-tiered system where those that have will be able to fund their own, and the government's going to have to step in. And you got these people that make a political argument and they call it socialized medicine and whatever. Well, we already have it. Medicare is funded by the government, so is Medicaid. It exists now.
Yes.
But as much money as we waste, our federal government, I'll go back to say what I said before. I do not understand why it's not a universal health care plan. When you got a working poor, a man or a woman or a family making $50,000, $60,000 a year, contributing taxes to this system, and they can't afford to cover their family, I think that's ridiculous.
No,
And we should be helping them.
no, we really should, because if you're like veteran or if you're 65, you got and over and you got Medicare, I mean, you got a little cushion, but if if you retired age, you're a firefighter, you retired age 55, or you're a nurse, or just, you work since you was 20 years old and you put in 35 years, now you're 55 years old. it's 10 years before, and you're not a veteran, it's 10 years before you can get qualified for Medicare because you got to be 65. So there's a lot of people who are in that gap. And with affordable health care, Obamacare, the rates are going up, doubling and tripling. Then, I mean, people are on their own, so to speak, and that healthcare costs everything. I just don't understand why people are not in the street, picketing about that. But then again, we live in a world where they say that if the baby don't cry, that means the baby don't need no milk. You know what I mean? That means the baby not hungry. So there's not enough people talking about that. Even when they talking about politics, I don't know what's going on. Why people? I don't know if they're just watching Netflix or they just want sports or soccer or hockey or
Rob,
basketball.
they're on that phone. That's what it is.
Playing games on their phone. I don't know, but that's why the elected officials. I think the elected officials think that most people are crazy because they're not demanding the government give them what they want. Congress is actually broken. But the thing about it is, what's amazing is people will do as much as you let them do to you. We treat people how we teach people how to treat us. We are really teaching this government that we're in how to treat us. And nobody's really crying about this medical cost and to fix it. They were talking about it some years ago, but now that nobody even talk about universal health care. That's not even discussed. So it's amazing to me. I used to get really, really into politics, but I don't anymore because I think the people are just numb. And I'm not going to have a heart attack or trip out because of them. Because you got to care about yourself, man. We're more focused on, gender identity and stuff. You know what I mean? But I don't care what your gender identity is. You still need medical care, and it costs. It's all about money, really. America is so, and now they are really afraid of this socialist movement. And I think that the whole socialist movement, I guess that is them crying out loud saying, give us something. Because really, the country has went far to the right, or now it's trying to swing far to the left. Like I was telling my wife, either swing. If you have too much of something, that's not too good. And if you have too little of something, that's not too good. We got to find a central level equilibrium where we can actually, coexist and we can be okay. You know what I mean? You can't undereat and you can't overeat. And I think right now, that's where we're going into a tug of war. And a lot of people, even some Democrats are the socialists saying, give everybody. But I think I think that whole socialist tag has been misrepresented. Mm-hmm. I really do. The socialist identity, pure socialist, that kills capitalism. I think that has been propaganda, has been overused. I think rather than just pure socialist, I think people still just want to, like you say, have some kind of, wages where they can live. They want to be able to buy food. They want to be able to, go have medicine. So it's not all the way socialism, but there's nothing right now. It's better. Right now, the far right is just like, even the poor people living in the hills out in Kentucky and Missouri. They still far right. They don't. It's amazing to me, and they're being starved, and they don't have any income, and they still, I guess, because I don't know. It's amazing to me. So that's why I don't get into politics. That's why I just study money.
Well, they also don't get healthcare either. Let me prepare a scenario, and let's go back to business medicine. I want to mention something that just popped in my mind. All right, if you are advising your kids, and this is a financial question for you guys, you're advising your kid, and they're trying to figure out what their career is going to be, and they got a career path that by the time they finish all their training, their debt can be anywhere between $300,000 and $600,000 a year. And when you finally get through your training, depending on what you do, you can make, say, average $300,000 a year. And it's going to take you, now you finish it, you're going to be like 30, 31, or maybe 35. So it'll take you 20 years to pay it back. You're going to pay 3 times what you borrowed back. Would you advise them to do that?
No,
Okay, that's what's
no.
happening in medicine. The average indebtedness for medical school student is going to be $200,000 to $300,000. I have students that rotate with me that are going to foreign medical schools, and literally I have couples with $600,000 or $700,000 worth of debt, and they haven't even finished. So what has happened is they come out, and again, they don't understand the business of medicine, what they're up against. They got to pay their loans back. So what happens is that private equity, private hospital equities are coming in and saying, "We'll pay your loan back and loan forgiveness," and they lock you down. And if you try to leave before their term's up, then they're going to hit you with a high interest rate. But they really have no choice. They have to go into the system to pay off the debt because it's very difficult. Like in orthopedics now, it's only 18% of practices that are independent. You're either owned by private equity or private hospital equity. And then where I'm going with this one is we just had a recent primary for gubernatorial election, and what we deal with as medical providers is our rates are being ratcheted down. I told you guys what we get reimbursed on the dollar. And the
Right.
insurance companies are still trying to take that lower. They want everything at Medicare rate, which is 35 cents on the dollar. But you still got to pay your debt back if you didn't find somebody to absorb your debt, right?
Right.
And so I asked one of the gubernatorial candidates, they're talking about rural health care and should Medicaid continue to be funded? Should these exchange plans be funded? And I asked him, I said, what are you doing for the doctors? What do you mean? I said, we're getting squeezed. I said, we've been forced out of private practice into either private equity or working for hospitals or becoming employed. And that's not what most of us was trained to do. And I said, then we got the insurance companies controlling us based on what they'll allow. And then we got to worry about making a mistake and being sued.
Being sued.
Because if
Right.
an insurance company says James T can't have this certain procedure or a certain imaging, and I miss something, you can't sue the insurance company. They sue me.
That's right.
And so, you know what his answer was? That's a complicated subject. We have to talk about that later. So you
Well,
talk about speaking up. I speak up, but then nobody wants to deal with it. But here's the ironic thing, and this happens in DC and locally. The same representatives have insurance plans, and the things you can't get approved, they get approved.
well, see, and that what you bring up is what we're really suffering with. And that is that we want other people to do for us what we should be doing for ourselves. When we don't go out and vote and let our voices be
That's
heard,
right.
man, I I came home to early vote, right? And when we literally walked in to the polls, it was more people working there than people in. And my family, we do a thing, traditional thing of voting together. And we were the only people from the time that we got into the parking lot, we were the only people in the polls. And when we were leaving, one person was coming in. So we, again, as people are listening to our podcast, whether it's on YouTube or it's on Facebook, and I know, well, I'm all right, or well, that no, you may be all right today, but there are issues that we should all be concerned about. And one of the first things uh, is health. I mean, because if if God forbid, you don't have to be a sick person, but if you get into an accident, where someone, harms you, or you, I mean, where do we go and how do we support those who provide, Dr. Malone, the services that you provide? Because one thing, if God so blesses us to get older, you're in a profession, whereas, hey, we're going to need your services, at some point, or someone who does what you do based on where we live. So I don't think that we are as concerned about those things that are really important issues, because when we started the show today, I was telling Rob how I saw Dr. Miles Monroe said, "Hey, there is a finish, that God did before the beginning. But now there's a journey from that beginning, the mother's womb, to that finish. And we never know the situations that we're going to face. So our participation in this electoral system, and when you talk about the socialists and all of that, Rob, my thing is, hey, if you haven't been a socialist, how did we get $40 trillion in debt?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not providing free health care, So where is the money? Where is the money really going? And when you
Yeah.
can say that,
But they've done a really good job on miseducating American
oh,
people on the business side and how things work, how the world works. They've done a really good job. Matter of fact, it's so that they've done the system, this matrix that we living in. This matrix that we living in is designed and has done such a good job to make it make people be disinterested on how the world really works in terms of business and everything, economics.
Rob, we've been fooled too that the people we select and elect, we're saying they're to represent us. When when did that happen?
Yeah.
Did that ever happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, these
Yeah.
people were seeking a job for benefits.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And can I ask you a question, Robert? I don't know the answer to this, but you're big on, and this is going to perplex you if you don't know the answer.
I go to perplexity.
That's what I was saying. But what percentage of people, have you seen any numbers that show the percentage of people that one critical illness or injury bankrupts them? And this is why it's so important, the issue of having some type of healthcare coverage if you can, or having reserves. Because I see so many people, and the cost of healthcare is so high nowadays that one serious illness or injury can literally,
Wipe
it's
you out.
bankrupting people.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
that's why I was speaking with, that's why I was asking both of you guys, how does one prepare for that? And I know, Rob, as your people come in, I know one of the first things you want them to do is have some form of coverage.
Always. You gotta have
protection for the money.
Yeah, you gotta have some sort of coverage. That's the first thing. Most people are thinking about how do I get rich or how do I make money. You gotta have some defense. Because you have some defense to cover all the stuff that can happen, unforeseen contingencies that arise. You got to have some sort of defense. That's why I'm really big on defense. You really, defense, like they said, we heard defense wins the game, but it's also defense also help you live a better life. And that's defense in medicine, defense in your health, and definitely defense and unforeseen contingency. I always say 95% of your problems can be solved if you can write a check. All my family know that. That's my motto. 95% of your problems can be solved if you can write a check. And that's money. And that's why I don't understand why people spend money frivolously and they don't have and just weaken their defense and don't have it. And that comes from all walks of life, and the system that we in, this matrix that we in, continuously feed us these grandiose ideas of looking good on the outside, but your foundation of your whole world doesn't have any defense. And one little hiccup, because any one of us, tomorrow could wake up, with a health problem.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to look at your defense. That's why I'm really big on long-term care. I'm really big on that. But you got to have money again in order to write that check, because the government is not doing it for you. So you have to be self-sufficient and say, where am I weak at? So you got to. That's why even in annuities, people, you have Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman say they don't like annuities. They don't specify variable annuities. I don't like variable annuities either, because that's playing the game. I like fixed principal guarantee annuities. They got annuities out there that if you put in $35,000, you get 3 times that amount for long-term care or disability. So if you put in 100,000, and it's like putting money in a CD, but it's an annuity, it'll pay you 5% if you don't need it, but at least you save $100,000. But just in case some unforeseen happens and you need help, disability, long-term care, that 100,000 immediately is $300,000 worth of care. That goes a long ways. And most people are not thinking about that until it happens. And then you got to take up a GoFundMe. That's the defense, man. I'm telling you, defense wins the game.
He answered your question, Jimmy. I think because I kind of ask opening the question because I've learned from Robert over the last 3 years. I mean, traditionally, even as a doctor, I had no idea about IULs or annuities. Nobody teaches you that. And most doctors will go out and buy a second home, or you go out and buy all these fancy vehicles, or you might buy, get a CD. But I wasn't thinking about IULs. I wasn't thinking about annuities. I wasn't thinking about long-term care policies. And when you realize there's a different way to do it, that's what I said earlier on. I wish I'd have known this stuff 20, 30 years ago, but I know now. I'm not going to look in the rearview mirror. But that's why it's so important with shows like this and to get messages out to people. Also, I think it's important for them to understand perspective as a provider. I want to help everybody. I want to treat everybody, but I can't. I have limitations, but I do the best I can.
Yeah. And I think that's what we don't know. And I think that for those people who are working, and many people are finding themselves either part-time. Oh man, I think one of if I could get angry, I would get angry with companies that are making money off of part-time labor because they don't want to cover their health benefits. I mean, I almost think that's evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say you almost think
I think it's a form of slavery.
Yeah.
First of all, you want to pay me $18, $20, I guess, or whatever, an hour, because that's what you say that I'm worth, and then you turn around and tell me I can only get, what is it? You have to do less than 30 hours or 30 hours a week so that you don't get the benefits. And if you get more, what we do is, we tack that on to your next payment plan or what. Come on, man. That's wrong. And I know for a fact people die behind that.
Yeah.
People, because they don't have care, and they're just trying to make I used to ask people, what is it when you make ends meet? Well, they're just trying to make ends meet, and all of a sudden they find themselves, hey man, putting their health and their life at risk. I think that's awful.
I would like to encourage the audience and to Google, and on a higher level, Google the salaries of the top 10 CEOs of insurance companies. On a higher level, these guys, even the Medicaid executives, they make millions and millions of dollars with stock options. You're talking about billions of dollars. And then on our end, as a doctor, they're ratcheting down what they're paying the doctor to keep people healthy or take care of injuries. And you got these guys making $30-40 million a year, up to $1 billion a year.
Yeah. But you know why it's hard to stop. Let me tell you why it's hard to stop it. Because our elected officials, when a person get elected to Congress to serve members of their states, they need money. Elected officials are always campaigning and raising money. Now, how do you guard against it? How do you change things when lobbyists, these special interest groups, insurance companies that have one of the biggest lobbyists in the world? And what is a lobbyist? A lobbyist says basically, James T., we're going to fund your campaign and we're going to put you in office. You're going to be okay because you're going to get all these government benefits, retirement, healthcare, free retirement. You're going to get all that. Okay. You're going to even get security. You're going to be fine. But in order for you to stay elected, James T., we want you to vote for us and vote our way. Now, imagine a lobbyist, someone tells you, that's like the mafia, coming telling you, this is what we want. If you want to stay in office and stay an elected official for the state of Florida, this is what you have to do. Other than that, we're going to find someone to take your position and represent us, so that wants to be a congressman, take your position. So if you're going to act like Jesus, we're going to crucify you and get you out of the office. Now, how do you guard it? That is the business of what's going on in every industry. You have unseen forces that have money. As soon as they pass the law that PACs and business, not individuals, can put billions of dollars behind a campaign, the young individual person don't have a chance, because now you are elected official. You want to do what's right for the people. You came from, the hood. Now you want to, give benefits to the hood, but you also want to be in a position where you're elected official. But you got this force that tells you, if you don't do what we want you to do and vote the way we want you to vote and pass legislation the way we want you to pass legislation for our benefit, we're going to remove you. And they have the power to do that on every senator, every congressman. They have the power to, if you do not do what they do. That's like mafioso stuff, man. But they call it hiring a lobby. That's what a lobbyist is. A lobbyist is someone basically that can persuade you to do what they need you to do. And they do it with money. Like I say, 95% of your problems can be solved if you can write a check. That's when people ask me, Robert, you work too much. No, I know. Don't tell me about that. Because I have it when I need it. Nobody wealthy never told me that I work a lot. I work too much. Only people that ever said, boy, you work all the time is poor people.
Dr. Malone, tell me something. Young people out there that wants to get into the medical field, as you just said with us here, one of the things that they need to understand is the business of the business. What advice do you give them?
I think that in your undergrad, you should take some business classes, get idea of key business concepts, and they need to join organizations and learn. Ask about the business side. I didn't get into the fact that when you see a patient, if you don't code a chart properly, insurance companies don't pay you, then the money backs up on the patient. It's just so many little nuances that you don't know. I'd never encourage anybody for trying to pursue anything productive. If you want to be a doctor, you should become a doctor, but you need to know what becoming a doctor means, not just take your injury, illness. Understand, try to get an idea with somebody who's in business or working for somebody, what you're really going to be required to do from a business perspective.
All right.
Yeah, you know what? That's interesting, because right now I know at least 3 people who went to college, graduated, and became pharmacists. And they're working as pharmacists. 3 different ones. They don't even know each other. They all are changing and getting out of pharmacy and studying to become an anesthetist.
Anesthesiologist.
Because they're looking at the business side of it.
That's
that they're looking purely at the business side. Listen, I have clients who are anesthetists, anesthesiologists. Man, anytime you can make $1,500 a day, $2,000 a day, they looking, they're saying, oh my God, I wish I'd known this. I went to pharmacy school and I wanted to be a pharmacist and help people. But in terms of surviving economically, I need to be making $300,000-$400,000 a year. And an anesthesiologist is making $600,000 and $700,000 a year. So, so if you listen, those who are hearing and listening, you need the business side of helping people. Those people that put you to sleep when you get ready to go to get that medication, a colonoscopy, or surgery, those people that know exactly how much doses to give you, you got to be good. But you can make a living there. I'm not saying we don't need school teachers. We need school teachers, but that's another fight in terms of why they're not paying school teachers. That's economics. I'm telling you, man, the world we live in is dollars and cents. Yeah, you want to do good, but you got to be in a position. If you want to be because that's your passion to be, we need preschool, elementary teachers, but you got to have a partner that's making the money then. You got to be twofold. You cannot just be an artist by yourself, because in every industry, they call it 80-20. 20% of the people make the money. 80% don't. That's in the legal field. That's in the medical field. That's in the architectural field. That's in across the board. Everybody, just because of title, you want to be that. You want to be an attorney? 80% of them broke. And they got, like Dr. Malone says, they got law school debt up the yin-yang. 80% of them broke. You have to really be really good at what you do, and you have to understand how money works in business. You got to calculate that. It's gone are the days you just say, I want to just be a doctor. No, you got to look at the economics, the cost. And the funny thing about it, the amazing thing about it is the education and schooling costs don't really have to cost that much. Do it, Doc?
No.
That's business, though.
That's another business.
That's business. Church is business. Going to church, having a church is business.
Before we close out, we're up on time. Want to congratulate you there, Dr. Malone. I understand that you've gotten several awards within the last 2 or 3 weeks. Tell us about it quickly.
Well, I'm not sure exactly which ones you're talking about. I'm not very good at talking about things.
Well, they honored you. Didn't your city honor you recently? Where you grew up for what you were doing in the medical field?
And I seen you cutting a ribbon with Emory.
So I don't know. Hey, Rob, now he's playing like us, right?
Yeah. Well, I will. The Lord blesses those who give, and I had no idea. Back in my hometown, they have a Black Cultural Heritage Trail, and like I told you, the 1% minority, and they did put my face on it. I was surprised they did that. I'm glad they did it, and appreciate they did, and hopefully that will inspire others. We've been fortunate enough in my practice that I started 26 years ago to be now part of Emory, which is one of the biggest healthcare systems in Georgia. Plus, I'm fortunate, and she's been on your show before, that mayor here, who's the first Afro-American mayor in the history of the city, is my goddaughter, and she came out for the ribbon cutting. So that was nice. But like I say, the Lord blesses those who bless others, and I've been, the more accolades or rewards I get, the more it allows me to help others.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Well, we're proud of you. As for the family, we're proud of you, sir. And of course, as for a citizen of this non-socialist country.
Well, we got Robert Henderson to teach us about capitalism. We're still learning.
Hey, man.
Yes,
boy,
it's a lot.
Like I tell people all the time, hey, boy, when God blesses you and you realize the blessing, you keep saying thank you, thank you. And I think it was back, it had to be 1980 or something. And I tell this story often, when he told me there was money in the walls. That was his first message to me. And I said, show me which wall. I'm going to tear it down.
Yeah.
And he showed me, no, you don't have to tear it down. I'm going to show you how to use it.
How to use what you
one thing I'll say to Robert before you sign off, and this is our little secret between you and James T. and I, we'll stay perplexed.
No, I let y'all be perplexed.
No, man, I love that complexity.
I'm dealing with the I.
I love it.
I'll handle the infinite intelligence. Y'all have perplexity and ChatGPT.
Man, I love AI, man. It's like having your own private genie.
You're right.
Those of y'all who are listening and watching, Dr. Malone, he's in Perry, Georgia. Boy, I tell you something, right there and right next to Warner Robins. And me and James C have been there several times. We're going to get back there. If you're looking for an area that is really nice and really, really proactive, and the cost of living is not like here in South Florida or around the country, that's a nice place. You need to check it out. And if you need more information on real estate in Perry or Warner Robins, just give us a call, 305-825-1444. I tell you, man, 305-825-1444. The people are nice there. The area is just growing. And like here in South Florida here, if you bought a house, to buy a house right now, I mean, it costs, $500,000 or more. Man, back there, man, you can get houses, the prices you can get 30 years ago in other words, like I bought my house almost 27 years ago, $350,000. Man, I can't even tell you how much the value of it is now. I mean, it's $2 million, So if you want to start that, if you want to get that right now, go back in the time. If you go to Perry or Warner Robins, you can get nice. And most of the properties on half an acre or more, man, a lot of land, spacious, not next door to, pushed up next door. It's a beautiful place. So y'all check out Warner Robins or Perry, Georgia. And if you need information on it and want to know more about that, call. We do a lot of business there. So it's 305-825-1444. And we'll help you out if you want to relocate, if you want to retire there. And like Doc said, they got the first Black African-American mayor there. And it's a second term, right, Doc?
That's correct. And she's young. She's just 40, 42.
Yeah. And got a vision. And they getting ready to do a whole downtown area that's getting, I mean, they really getting ready to have shops and, and food place, restaurants. It's going to be really, really beautiful. So it's a good time to get there. The acreage, the land is still very relatively cheap, especially compared to other areas, especially here in Florida or other areas. And people are starting to flock there. It's starting to find out that this is a great place to live because the taxes are there. So I just wanted to give a plug to Perry and Warner Robins. Hey, Doc, we got to just have you back on because we're setting up something where you're going to have, your own. James T and I was talking about it, man. You got so much information, inspiration to give people and people that want to go into the medical field, and for us to have more conversations about the business of medicine. So I thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hey, it's always good. And he's working with some other people too. Networking is so important. And believe me, now this brother here,
knows everybody.
He's worse than I am. He's of all times. I'm not just talking about being perplexed. He is perplexed.
He knows everybody there. He knows everybody. And everybody know him.
Well, but, hey, and appreciates him. I mean, everywhere we go, hey, he's well known, and he's not on radio yet.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna close out in prayer today.
Yes. Give us we need prayer,
right,
man. We need prayer.
Okay. Well, hey, let me see. My brother usually have one up here, and I love to do. Let's see. Did he get one in this morning? I think I sent one out. Yeah. Let's do this one. This came from my brother John Davis, and he says, "Join us in praying, Lord Jesus, Holy Spirit. We ask that you will bless us on this day, for we will sing of your unfailing love and faithfulness forever. Thank you for keeping your promises and remaining constant through every season of our lives. When circumstances change, remind us that your love never, ever fails. Fill our hearts with gratitude and praise, and help us to share the story of your goodness with the next generation. Oh man, how powerful that is. May our lives continually testify to your faithfulness." And this message comes from Psalms 89:1, where it says, "I will sing of the Lord's great love forever. With my mouth, I will make your faithfulness known through all generations." Young people, old people, middle-aged people, people yet to come. We pray that God will lead, guide, and direct us so that we might be a blessing to one another and that we may glorify you in our purpose. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, amen.
Amen. Let the church say amen. And Doc, also, I'm working on that next deal. I'll let you know something. All right.
All right. Thanks.
All right, y'all
Appreciate
be
everything.
safe. Have
All right.
a
great day,
wonderful,
everybody.
wonderful day. Have a great weekend. Much love to you all.
All right.
Peace. Until next
Thank
week.
you. Bye-bye.